Hey, John, when you get a new job, it's a good time to rethink your benefits and what you've signed up for. That's what we're going to be talking about on this episode of Friends Talk Financial Planning. Hi, I'm Bridget Sullivan Mermel, and I've got a field-only financial planning practice in Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm John Shear. I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin. And before we jump into employee benefits at your new job, I just want to remind everybody to hit that subscribe button here, help us grow the channel and help other people find this information on YouTube. And with that, I'm looking forward to having this conversation, Bridget. You know, it's one of these things that I think perhaps for you and I, it's because we deal with it so much, it's sort of, oh yeah, take for granted. But in the fall, there are some signups for new benefits, but you don't really think about it that much when we're changing jobs, maybe getting a first job or getting a promotion to a moving different company. It's like, hey, there's all these things are kind of new. It's not the same old things. We just got to check the boxes. It's all these new things to think about. And it can be a really great time to level up your game, right? You can make some decisions that might fall under the cracks or under the rug in the past. So what things are on your list? What things do you talk about with folks when they do change jobs?
Want to talk about is the 401ks, and there's a few different flavors here. First, you want to obviously contribute, but generally when people are switching jobs, they're making more, and it's great. I generally recommend people save half of that. So that's a great way to start increasing your 401k. So increase your 401k contributions, sign up for it and increase your contributions. Any objections to that?
No, I think that's great. And at a minimum, right, is make sure that you take advantage of the company match. Right. A lot of places where if you put in 5%, up to 5% they match. Sometimes it's up to 10%. So understand what the match is at the new company and make sure you're doing that at a minimum. And then I love this idea, right? Hey, if I change jobs because I got a 3% or a 5% raise, well, put 2 or 3% more into the 401k plan. We'll go from 10% to 12% or whatever. I still get a more take-home pay, but I'm also bolstering my retirement. I mean, great idea.
Right. And then there's also details. So you probably have an old 401k, and most people would prefer not to have a lot of accounts hanging out there. And so transferring your old 401k into your new 401k is really something to consider.
Yep. Yep. And that's the same thing. Either into the new 401k. We do take a look and see, sometimes 401ks aren't as awesome as other ones. Even if it's not, if one of those, well, the investments, I kind of don't like them. The company match that comes in a 401k in most cases trumps all the other things like this. And it's still a great deal. But either rolling it into an IRA or into your current plan, if the current plan is, we like those investment options, that's the number one choice for us.
And I would say don't just keep it because your old 401k because you're feeling lazy. So
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
my, it's like sometimes we have old 401ks, but don't do it just because it actually doesn't age well. It just
Yep.
gets to be more of a pain to find your old logins and all that kind of stuff, to actually move it or to do anything with it later. So
Yep.
I like doing it now. Okay,
Love
now
that.
there's another one, medical insurance. Like obviously, I think most people will remember to sign up for medical insurance, but it might be a time to evaluate, is an HSA or health savings account based medical insurance appropriate for you at this life stage?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I think it's a time again where, hey, maybe you thought about it and it's been 3 or 5 or 7 years. Think about it again, right?
Right.
And I'll throw out there too that if you had an HSA at your old company and you're going to do the same thing, remember you have an HSA as an account, sort of like an IRA type account. Don't forget that. Don't forget the 401k and just leave it over there because of being lazy. Same thing with the HSA. Be intentional about that account as you make a change.
So those HSA accounts are what we know in the business as portable. That means it comes with you.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't disappear. It comes with you. And so you can use it again. Okay, another one that people a lot of times miss is dependent care savings accounts. Okay, so these look a lot like flexible spending savings accounts, kind of, but they're just for dependent care. So it's for if your kid's in preschool, it totally helps a lot, and you can save a bunch in these. When people have kids in preschool, I really like these things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Preschool, and I'll just say also daycare as well, right? Not necessarily,
yeah,
you know, depending. There's
right,
and the thing about those plans is it's like the 401k or 403b, like the HSA, it's a pre-tax deduction right off your paycheck.
right.
So you can get a dependent care credit on your tax return. That's a good thing to do. But this thing that you can do through the company is it's just flat
Yeah.
out a better deal. The more tax bang for the buck. So it's a great place to start. I love that. And a lot of people, Bridget, I think maybe in my old company didn't have it. My new company does, but I don't really pay attention to it. Again, pay attention. If it's there, it
Yeah.
can be a really great deal.
Another one, this is again our highlight. So highlights real, uh, no accidental death. John is not worried about you dying from an accident. What?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's the thing. It sounds like a good deal, right? But I mean, if I need life insurance, and you do, especially if you have kids, right? You need life insurance. Um, it doesn't matter if I get sick or if I'm in a car wreck. I mean, either way, I need the insurance, right? So those accidental ones typically aren't a good deal. I will say sometimes the regular insurance, right? I get regular insurance for me, and I can buy more coverage, buy some for my spouse. I just want to point out that can be a really good deal. It can be very affordable. It can also, I've seen ones that are very expensive compared to what you can buy out on the open market. So don't just automatically go, oh, great, I can buy, 5 times my salary. It must be a good deal because it's an employee benefit. That's one where, do the homework and just make sure that it's a good pricing from a pricing standpoint.
It's also interesting too, because some of the same plans can be good at some ages and bad at
That's
others.
right.
Could change, and so it's worth taking a look at. Next is employee stock ownership plans. So this is when the company gives you a deal for buying stock in the company, and they give you a discount. Okay, tell me what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah, and we used to see these a lot. We see less of them these days, but in general, those are a good idea with some caveats. What we don't like to see is people putting money into that and just building up a big pot of their employer stock, because they become too concentrated over time if you don't pay attention. Where I think it's a good idea is I can buy many of the plans. You have to read the plan because they're all different, but many plans will say, listen, you can buy once a year, you can defer money from each paycheck. Once a year, we'll buy company stock at a discount, and then you can turn around and sell it. And
Right.
those are the places where, listen, if the day after I get it, I can turn around and sell it, I know I've gotten a 15% gain in it. That can be, it's like putting money in the bank sort of a thing. But be aware, for me anyway, and I'm interested in your take, Bridget, but be aware that some plans say, yep, you get that, but then you have to hold it for a year.
Right.
Now, wait a minute. Over the course of a year, a stock can go down more than 15%, right? I could lose all the benefit that's there. I could even lose money on that. So the idea of buying it for a long-term investment or even a year-long investment after I own it, less exciting for me and even negative. If I can sell it right away, if my plan allows that, that can almost be like, free money.
Okay, and my take on this is slightly different than yours. Although we come to the same conclusion, is that you don't really want to be getting a big pot of your company stock, no matter how great your company is. Okay. But my take on the if you can sell it is if you need to hold on to it for a year in order to sell it and get the advantage of the discount, that's okay. I think statistically it'll probably work out for you. The bigger issue is, can you remember to sell
Yeah,
it?
right.
And so if you are of the personality type where you will be on top of it, great, go for it. But if you are not of the personality type where you enjoy these kinds of, if it's not your hobby, don't do it. That's what I would say.
That's such a great point, is that behavioral side, right? And you know me, I like to think in the whatever side of the brain, like, oh, here's the logic, here's the math. Like, yep, the math works. But then reality meets for, it can cause a lot more damage if your reality is you're just not going to pay attention to this stuff, right? That's such a great point.
And it's fine. If you don't, if you're not done
Yeah,
paying stuff, that's fine. There's no problem with it. I mean, if accumulating more money is your hobby, and it is for a lot of our viewers, and it's a fun hobby,
right.
actually, then this is great. Because you generally stay on top of it. And if it's not your hobby, if it's not your hobby right now, just take a pass. That's what I would say.
Right. You're not gonna, you're not missing out, right? You're not, oh my gosh, why didn't you do this? You don't put money in the 401k and the company match. Geez, what are you doing? You're missing out. This one, like, yeah, it's nice. right? But not necessary.
Yeah, you gotta be on top of it. Otherwise you have this huge amount and, we have clients like in that situation and it's not really the ideal situation.
That's right. That's right.
So that's a great time to wrap it up, John. I'm Bridget Sullivan Ramel. I've got a fee only financial planning practice in Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm John Shear. I've got a fee-only financial planning practice in Middleton, Wisconsin. And both Bridget and I are taking on new clients. We'd love to hear from you. But we're also both members of the Alliance of Comprehensive Planners, national group of fee-only comprehensive planners. And so if you like what you hear on our show and you want to find an advisor local to your area, you can check out acplanners.org.
And don't forget to subscribe.